we have to get to a point where we look at a Jack Del Rio and what he said and actually be gratified that there was somebody that was willing to be open about their ignorance.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
I didn't know it was possible to be inside of the NFL, a place where Colin Kaepernick used to play, and to be this beast. Check out Jack Del Rio from the Washington Commanders defensive coordinator saying exactly what all of America thinks about January 6th.
Why is it not important to you, like if your players are concerned by what you'd said?
Oh, if they are and they want to talk about it, I'd talk about it with anybody. Yeah, no problem. At any time. But they're not. I'm just expressing myself. And I think we all as Americans have the right to express ourselves, especially if you're being respectful. I'm being respectful. I just asked a simple question. Really, let's get right down to it. What did I ask? A simple question. Why are we not looking into those things? If we're going to talk about it, why are we not looking into those things? Because it's kind of hard for me to say. I can realistically look at it. I see the images on TV. People's livelihoods are being destroyed. Businesses are being burned down. No problem. And then we have a dust-up at the Capitol. Well, there's nothing burned down. And we're not going to talk about, we're going to make that a major deal. I just think it's kind of two standards. And if we apply the same standard and we're going to be reasonable with each other, let's have a discussion. That's all it was. Let's have a discussion. We're Americans. Let's talk it through. I'm for us, having a great opportunity to have a fulfilled life. Like I said, every which way I can. When I'm here, it's about love and respect. I love my guys. I respect my guys. But I also love the fact that I'm an American, and that means I'm free to express myself. And I'm not afraid to do that.
So the DC Washington Commanders' Jack Del Rio again is based. He dropped a massive red pill there saying that people don't actually care about January 6th, a riot with like 200 people that happened a couple of months ago, meaning like 2 years ago, and that didn't lead to any deaths other than one of the rioters, Ashley Babbitt, who was murdered by a police officer. It actually ended up causing far less destruction and damage to the building of the Capitol. Most protesters just wandered through peacefully. In fact, the billions of dollars that were caused in damage by the Antifa and BLM protests, along with the dozens of murders, many of them people of color and also police officers, were the most important riots of that year. January 6th doesn't even count as like the most damaging riot of the year, but they want you to focus on it because they have no plan. They have nothing to offer. They have nothing to give you for the 2022 elections. They haven't accomplished anything, and by they, I mean the fascistic communists who have wholesale taken over the Democrat Party and are now trying to run this charade. And even an NFL defensive lineman coach can see through it, saying that there's a lot bigger fish to fry. Recent polling from Fox News found that there are massive, bigger fish to fry. Let's go ahead and check in on the recent polling. What do Americans care about? Let's see here. Inflation. Most people care about that. 34%. That's a huge number. That's more than double the next thing that they care about, which is gun violence. All right, fine. It's, obviously it's a huge issue inside of Democrat-controlled cities. There's far more gun violence inside of Chicago and LA and New York and Portland than anywhere else in the country. But sure, everyone wants to live in a safe community. That's 17%. Immigration is 7%. That number should be far higher, but that's fine. This is a Quinnipiac poll, so you're probably going to over-index liberals. Something else is 7%. Election laws is 6%. That should be higher, but whatever. Again, we're glad it's in the top 5. Abortion is 5%. Racial inequality is 5%. Climate change, 5%. Crime, healthcare, Russia, Ukraine, don't know. COVID-19, 1%. Russia, Ukraine's only 3%. After all of the harping on that issue, you know what isn't on that list? I'll let you guess. January 6th and the Capitol riot. It didn't even make the list, the top 10 things that Americans care about.
It's not our chair. Look, I love you guys, you're brothers, but we can't be disrespectful.
With the extreme plurality of Americans saying that inflation is the worst issue affecting them. Essentially what that is the economy. So all Jack Del Rio was saying is, hey, listen, I'm going to advocate for recent polling and say that this sham Soviet hearing doesn't matter. No one gives a shit about it. However, the NFL certainly did, and they have fined Jack Del Rio for his comments, in spite of the fact that his own team members and people on his defensive squad say, hey, we kind of agree with you. Check it out.
Rio, defense coordinator, has been pretty active on his Twitter lately. Yeah. Some political stuff that kind of runs counter to a lot of what players have said. Yeah. Does any of that make news in the locker room?
Not really, to be honest with you. Me personally, I stay away from it. I've heard about it, but I don't get on specifically, so I don't have to really answer the question because I really don't know. But in my opinion, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Some guys decide to share it on Twitter. Some guys don't. It doesn't make one person better than the other. And at the end of the day, you can have a difference in opinion and still respect one another. I mean, I feel like that's what our country is about. That's what our team's about. So, I mean, me personally, I don't care about his opinion. His opinion, as long as he shows up every day and he works hard, I mean, that's what I want from my defensive coordinator. I would feel like some guys might feel some type of way, and I think that would be natural. But as far as having a hard time playing for him, you're playing for your family. You're playing for your honor's name. You're playing for the name on the back of the jersey as well as on the front of it. So some guys, yes, might have a problem with it, but at the end of the day, you get paid to do a job, and that's what we're going to do. He owned it just like a man, and as a team, we respected it, and we moved on.
I need to understand how Jack Del Rio got asked a question, and he answered it by stating, the dust-up at the Capitol, how is it okay for BLM to go out there and burn cities down and the people at the Capitol get held accountable and BLM doesn't? Now he has to apologize, gets fined $100,000 and become a pariah because of his opinion. He even said, let's talk about it. That's how sad and pathetic this country is right now. You have a sensitive demographic that gets so on edge when someone disagrees with what they think.
But in spite of the fact that the team is on his side, and in spite of the fact that the vast majority of Americans are on Jack Del Rio's side. In fact, you can't even find me a poll that says people care about January 6th or the Capitol riot right now. In spite of all of that, the Washington Commanders fined defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio $100,000 for his comments comparing the 2020 protests in the wake of the death of George Floyd to the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. The team announced Friday that the Commanders' coach Ron Rivera levied a fine on Del Rio, which will be donated to the United States Capitol Police Memorial Fund, even though no Capitol Police officers died in the riots. The only person who died in the riots was Ashley Babbitt, killed by a Capitol Police officer. She was unarmed. She's a veteran. This morning I met with Coach Del Rio to express how disappointed I am in his comments, Rivera said in a statement. His comments do not reflect the organization. Views are extremely hurtful to our country and community here in the DMV. We saw last night in the hearings what happened in the Capitol, the act of domestic terrorism. You know what's interesting is that none of these people have statements about David Dorn, who was killed in St. Louis, retired police officer. None of these people have statements about when the left rioted and assaulted the Secret Service and injured hundreds of them in their attempts to breach the White House gates when Donald Trump was having to be evacuated from the White House. Nobody had comments about when Rand Paul and his wife were attacked savagely in the streets by leftists, and nobody has had a comment yet about Portland, which the federal courthouse in downtown Portland has been under siege for the better part of 2 years by Antifa and by leftists who are trying to burn it down. It's a war zone caused by the left. We're not even taking into account Chaz. We're not even taking into account various BLM violence all throughout the country. But no. This coach gets fined $100,000, Jack Del Rio, and they're going to put him out to pasture. Stand strong, Jack. Nobody right now has on top of mind the January 6th riots. And in fact, it is indeed the violent left who are, to this very day, threatening the lives of Supreme Court justices and, quite frankly, the freedom and liberty in this country. It is, and always has been, the fascistic left. It's just that the people who are in power of the media, they like the fact that the fascistic left are their foot soldiers. They're on their side. So they encourage them. These people are absolute goblins. They must be stopped. Jack Del Rio is a national hero. We approve of Jack. Thank you so much for watching. Our channel is here for the truth and also to make you smile a little bit in this extreme era of disinformation and misinformation and people trying to control your brain and what happens inside of it. It's so important that we support independent creators like our channel, and we thank you for watching. If you want to check out some more of our videos, we highly encourage that. Please punch the like and subscribe buttons on your screen to support our channel. It's free. And ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you are following along with independent creators who want to keep this place free. God bless you.